Bitdefender antivirus has built a steady reputation for itself, and it's been around for more than 2 decades. But just how solid is Bitdefender virus protection in 2026? I've spent several months using this as my main antivirus on one of my PCs, and in this Bitdefender review, I'll ask the most important questions and show you the things you should know before spending money on this antivirus. So first, can you trust Bitdefender to protect your device? The Bitdefender app comes packed with features against various types of malware, and I'm not just talking about scans, that's mostly a once-in-a-while checkup. Instead, Bitdefender antivirus focuses more on malware prevention. Features like online threat prevention and privacy firewall cover pretty much every possible entry point, checking for suspicious web pages as you browse, and keeping an eye on your network for any unauthorized traffic. The firewall did flag a couple of false positives during my time using Bitdefender. It mostly conflicted with VPN software I was testing, but it was pretty easy to fix in firewall settings. Now, if any malware does manage to slip through Bitdefender's defenses, there's Bitdefender Shield, which monitors the device 24/7. Though the only time I got a notification from it was when running my own malware testing. You don't need to actually get malware to see if this stuff works. There are independent labs that test antiviruses against real threats. For example, one of the biggest challenges in the AV labs in the wild malware test, they throw real active malware at antiviruses to see what gets caught. And while most of today's antiviruses perform pretty well, Bitdefender was actually the only antivirus that caught all of the samples before they even had a chance to be launched. Then there's AV Test, which does a more comprehensive check of overall antivirus capabilities. They look at 3 things: protection, usability, and performance. And to no one's surprise, Bitdefender consistently scores top marks for protection and usability. However, in the latest test, it did lose half a point in performance, so I ran my own test to see what's really going on here. At first, I did a full system scan, which single-handedly detected 85 out of 100 malware samples that I planted in just about 34 minutes, which ended up being the highest result among other antiviruses I tested. I then pushed the same malware samples again, but this time I let the real-time protection handle it, which again got an impressive score, but was also pretty intensive on my CPU. Since you won't be downloading 100 malware samples at a time, I hope, you won't see drastic CPU usage like this, especially if you've got a newer machine with solid specs. But if your computer is already running slow, it is something to keep in mind. Overall though, Bitdefender is undoubtedly one of the most thorough antiviruses out there. If you'd like to have all of its protection measures guarding your devices too, then grab a discount from the description or use this QR code on screen. Now, the next thing to address in this Bitdefender review 2026 is the Bitdefender Mac version inferior. Well, it's no secret that Apple limits how deep third-party apps can go, but there's also no denying that Mac already has strong built-in protection, especially when compared to Windows. So Bitdefender's role here is filling the gaps. It provides strong malware catching and prevention tools, but extra tools, those would just be redundant. So no, the Mac version is not inferior, it's just built differently. Speaking of tools, let's talk about the main extra features in the Bitdefender antivirus app. Webcam and microphone protection is one I actually keep enabled. It blocks unauthorized access, which just gives me some peace of mind. There's also a one-click optimizer that cleans up junk files and helps your system run smoother. Remember how I mentioned Bitdefender can be heavy on resources? If you run this every once in a while, this can actually offset that a bit. Then there's a VPN and password manager thrown in. However, the VPN is capped at 200 megabytes daily, unless you upgrade, which is annoying. Like, come on. What the hell do you expect me to do with such a pitiful amount of data? The password manager is a separate app, but it does what it's supposed to do. It keeps your login safe, but easy to access. I still much prefer separate third-party tools, but if you're looking for an all-in-one bundle, Bitdefender is a pretty solid choice. Now, what features you get also depends on the plan you pick. Antivirus Plus is the cheapest option, but it's limited to one device and lacks features like firewall and webcam protection. Honestly, I'd only go with this if you're in a tight budget and only need basic malware screening. The Bitdefender Total Security Plan is what I'd recommend for most people. It covers more devices and includes all the key features while remaining affordable. If if you don't forget to grab the discount from the description. Otherwise, you might see a higher price. The premium security removes the ridiculous VPN limit, turning Bitdefender into a proper bundle. But truth be told, the VPN is still pretty mediocre, mostly just for basic privacy protection. So overall, is Bitdefender legit? Right now, Bitdefender virus protection is one of the strongest in the industry right now. Plus, it's not overly complicated to use. It has some useful features and a wallet-friendly price. However, keep in mind that it can be heavier on older computers. So I hope this Bitdefender review cleared some things up for you, and if you have more questions, feel free to comment. And for those about to try Bitdefender antivirus, don't forget to make use of the discount code below. Cheers.